Hey, what's up? This is Joshua. Welcome to the daily video blog. This is going to be one, it's Super Bowl Sunday. So this is going to be your Super Bowl edition. And we're going to talk about something extremely exciting, which is teaching art and design. This is going to be the first video of a new series where I'm going to talk about teaching. I've been teaching for 8 years. I'm going to share what works for me, insights, and maybe core beliefs in as far as my own teaching philosophy. Let's see, we have this really nice bridge behind us. Oh, this is the wonder. Everyone moves to Minneapolis. It's cold as shit. It's always snowing, but it's beautiful. Okay, so video number one then, because this is the beginning. I think I should probably 2002. Maybe 2001, I can't remember now. But I saw a painter and a teacher give a talk at MCAD. And what he really talked about, he was he had a master's degree from Yale, probably from the 60s, I'd say. And one of his instructors was the legendary Bauhaus instructor and artist and author Joseph Albers. And his talk was really about the kind of the legacy of Albers' teaching. And Albers is very famous for the book, The Interaction of Color. This guy had actually worked as like a grad student assistant on that book, just mixing and screen printing the plates that were in it. So he talked about Albers' sort of body of work as a teacher, and it was super interesting. And frankly, almost none of it stands out to me now, except for maybe like one or two photographs. But when he was done, one of my instructors asked him, what assignments did he keep from Albers and continue to teach with? Because this guy had now been teaching for, 30 years or something since then. And the guy said something to the effect of, none, of course. And he went on to explain that an art teacher never uses the assignments that they received as a student. That no matter how powerful the assignment was, oh man, airplanes, no matter how powerful the assignment was, your obligation as a teacher is to break down what worked in an assignment and attempt to recreate that through your own understanding. And that just doing that would make you a better teacher, and that even though that assignment was cool and productive for you, it's your obligation, if you're going to be a truly great teacher, to develop your own assignments and curriculum. Now, one, I completely agree with that. I'm not sure if I agreed with that. I probably did agree with that at the time, because I felt like I was always sort of critical of the assignments I had gotten and felt like they weren't always working. But I definitely agree with it now. Now, I'd be a hypocrite if I said that I never used anyone else's assignments. I use an assignment that I got in a 2x4 workshop when I was a student. I use an assignment, who else do I use assignments from? I use an assignment from Peter Buchanan Smith that I just read about from one of his students, though I modified it. I use an assignment from Martin Fineschi, though again, I think I have different intents or whatever. But so there's definitely traces of other stuff I've read about, other assignments I've had. I think I even had, I'm gonna switch hands here. I think I even have taken some stuff like that I got from a graphic design 1 class from a guy named Russ Mrochek just recently, maybe 12 years after having him. I started using one of his assignments because I saw some value in it. Now, what's the point of this? It's not so important, I think, that you be completely original in your assignments, but I think that it's important that you at least try to formulate an original take on it and fail on your own merits, so that when you, if and when you pick up something like, say, an assignment you had from a teacher, that you realize very powerfully, down to being almost like a belief, why that assignment was valuable. Because a lot of the times I think that we just think an assignment was cool or it was novel, and then we teach it, and we don't even have the same vocabulary that that teacher had, so it's not nearly as effective. Um, I've definitely assigned things where I thought, oh yeah, this was a really great assignment. And then when I critiqued it, I just realized I wasn't the person to critique it. Um, so it's not necessarily about the originality factor so much as it's about having a true understanding of that assignment and what it means and what your take on it is. And I think the better thing to do is to take those assignments that worked really well and attempt to figure out what was great about it, and try to figure out, like, okay, if I want you to learn about collage, you could do some research and figure out every way to learn about it. Or you could say, what do I think would work for me? And so I think a big part of this is about the self-reflective nature of analyzing assignments you've had, analyzing work you've done, looking at other people's stuff, and trying to figure out, like, that looks interesting. What do I think the point was? Is that more valuable than doing something else? One of the problems I have with just taking stuff that your teachers gave you is very often their teachers gave them that, and so on and so forth. And it's this stuff that's passed down, and it becomes very like rote. And even if you could find the value in it, very often I would argue you could, like, it's a really common one. People love this ligatures one. So this is like in typography classes. I did this in community college. I very much recall this, where you take like a typeface, like I had to do Baskerville, and then I believe you drew 2 letters out of a hat, and you drew a character that would act as like a new symbol within that typeface that sort of fit within it, and therefore you would learn about drawing typefaces or something. There's certainly value in that. The question is, at what opportunity cost to more valuable work would that have come? That is work that I'm going to argue has never benefited me in the nearly 20 years since I did that assignment. On the other hand, I've had teachers who gave an assignment that I never did again with anyone else, and I realized that some of the most valuable stuff in terms of understanding process or understanding generating form. And that stuff does not get handed down from person to person because it wasn't real work. It was maybe a workshop or something. So these projects keep getting done, and everyone just assumes that because everyone else is doing them that they're of value, but they're stupid. Like that ligature assignment, it doesn't need to be done anymore. It doesn't truly teach about drawing a typeface. And secondly, who are all these people that are drawing typefaces? Drawing typefaces is like the most narrow aspect of all of this, and you could learn a lot more from not narrowing down to one typeface, or at least manipulating it. So let's say you're trying to find a corollary to drawing logos. Draw that symbol for 20 typefaces so that you're experimenting with line width and with different types of form and with modulating edges and whatnot. But don't just give out the same assignment. And so, God, I'm going long here, but if you're starting out teaching, start out with your own curriculum. Start out with objectives. What is it that you're expected to teach, or your students are expected to understand? And then figure out like how that would actually work. Maybe the first stab at it is to figure it out on your own terms. Like, okay, what would I do and how would I do it? And then the other thing I would think about is, what else would I think about? Maybe that's it. Just start with that. Like, or start with, if I were to teach this in a pragmatic way, where it ends up like in a graphic design situation, in a deliverable, a book cover or a logo or whatever it is, how would that work? What if I were to deliver it in a non-pragmatic way, like a purely formal way, where it is just all that matters is that it's an image? Would that be different than the pragmatic thing? And then pick that. I mean, I would make an argument that you start with a goal of what you want to teach, or what you want students to understand or grasp, and then you should make a list of all the different ways that you could do that. Like, you could do this, and that list could include the assignments you've done, and it could include professional work you've done, and it could include other projects you've seen done, and then start to narrow down what you think would work there. And maybe the biggest thing is accept that you might fail. You're going to come up with assignments that are duds. You'll know that they're duds when you explain the assignment and there's 1,000 questions right off the bat, and what you thought was straightforward was only straightforward in your head. Yeah, allow yourself to fail, because if you give out the rote assignment and you're not the person to critique it, you're going to fail either way. It's just that your failure is going to be mediocre, and it's just going to be accepted, and it's going to be what everyone else does. If you're going to fail, be dramatic about it. Actually fail. Don't give out a boring assignment that's just like every other boring assignment that people do. That is the end of my rant, and tomorrow will be another video, hopefully less angry. All right, thanks for watching.